Hello, welcome to the program Big Talk on Global TV. My name is Topsy Gimba, your host. Big Talk is a program that comes to you at about this time every day in a week, where we discuss issues with people who make events happen. Today we have a guest with us that will be joining us via Zoom from Ogun State, former chairman of a local government called Ijebu East. He is in the person of Honorable Wale Adebayo. He's going to join us via Zoom to discuss the pertinent issue that's actually going on today in the country. Nigeria marks its own independence 65 years, as a matter of fact. This is not a small journey. It's been a very long journey, as a matter of fact. And we want to know basically our achievements, our challenges, and how to address them. So it is important for us to get started by calling on my guest who joins us via Zoom from Ijebu in Ogun State, former chairman of the most important local government we all know in Ogun State, that's Ijebu East, in the person of Honorable Wale Adebayo. Wale Adebayo, if you are joining us right now, we are on air live and direct on the program Big Talk. And we are going to be looking at the Nigeria at 65 achievements and challenges. So you have that opportunity, because being a chairman of a local government in Ogun State, very close to Lagos, as a matter of fact, suggests that you know much the development of this country, whether we are progressing or we are retrogressing or we are just standing in one place. It's only you that will be able to explain to us. But of course, we're worrying like that when then the colonial masters handed power over to civilian government in 1960, and we've been there starting from that moment to where we are today. We've been at this point. Today we have President Bola Tinubu, who governs this country. A lot of policies have been introduced, many measures are on ground, and of course, economy, to what we are hearing from the newspapers, television and radio, that indeed is doing well. But of course, life is still very challenging, where people feel very difficult today in Nigeria. And we want to know basically what are those things that need to be done to ensure that some of these challenges are frontally confronted, so that at the end of the day, we cannot have a country that works. We cannot have a country that every Nigerian can call it his own. We can have a country where students will go to school and come back safely. We can have a country where insecurity is no longer there. We can have a country where agriculture thrives and equally food is on the table. These are some of the things we have been expected to see as a people. And of course, my guest, like I said, is Honorable Wale Adebayo, former chairman Ijebu East. Hello, Honorable Wale Adebayo, are you there? No. Well, in case he just put himself in order, which I believe you certainly do. We've been talking for quite some time before coming on air like the way we are, and I believe he's going to join us to put in his best by explaining to us or to Nigerians basically what we expect in this celebration. You know, for a very long time indeed, for a very long time, indeed, we've been expecting celebration of this independence to occur by having a very big ceremony. I remember during Buhari, very many of these celebrations were done in Villa. Nobody knows basically what were the reasons. And I hope too, President Bola Tinubu wouldn't do the same. People would want to come out and feel the government speaking to us by addressing us in the way they should. And so I expect Wale to join us in case he's actually watching Global TV wherever he might be, but I know he is in Ogun State, very close to Lagos. He can join us and then tell us basically his own views concerning the celebration we expect to go into by Wednesday. That should be 1st October, because September ends on Tuesday. That will be 30th, and we mark the 65th of Nigeria's independence, and that is highly remarkable. Most countries celebrate that. I made to understand that America got its own independence in 1776, closely to about 250 years there. And it's going to be maybe by next year or so. Nigeria is 65. Other countries are there. I think we are close to Ghana, or Ghana close to us. So many of these African countries that at one point in time, under colonial masters gained their independence, and Nigeria happened to be one, and ours was 1st October 1960. From then we've been going on till the way we are. And a journey that got started from year 1 till today, 65. It means there is a lot of stories to be told. Whether significant progress are being made or we are just in one place, it's only when my guest joins us, he tells us how far we have gone on this great journey as a nation. And so let me still find out whether my guests in the presence of Honorable Wale Adebayo joining us wherever he might be via Zoom. I'm made to understand that he is in Ogun State, former chairman Ijebu East. Honorable, are you with us? Honorable, are you with us? Okay. Well, it's important for us to know that by the time he finds himself, joins us, he explains basically what that stands for. But it's important for us to take this preamble. Nigeria, we will know, was governed by colonial masters from the British government that used Nigeria as an extension of its own colony then. There were so many countries at a point, not just Nigeria, where they partitioned this African continent to various countries in Europe. Britain happens to be one. We had France, and France is still there as a matter of fact. We have Germany, we have Portugal, we have so many of these countries, that had the opportunity to take over our land as their own, milking the resources. No wonder you can see in Nigeria, for instance, only where, we have resources. These colonial masters built railway lines to those areas. That is Lagos, to some parts in the east, coming close to the north central, and then they're there to Maiduguri, and then they went to Kano, they're now there to Niger State, and then that was how, they kept moving around. And most of these rail lines weren't just meant for anything, but they were meant to cover or to carry some of these natural resources Nigeria had then. In northern Nigeria, it was granite that we were told had a very big pyramid. Pyramids were all over, there where they used to farm and they make money out of it. According to information we used to receive from the history books, they saw some of this produce to send people to school. Today, these are the ones that are really in the entire affair of this country, maybe governing us or ruling us, or either their children or so that established themselves in the past, handed over power to their children or grandchildren that are today with us. And by and large, by 1975, during the military, the oil was discovered. But before the oil was discovered, British government or colonial master, as we will say, had already handed power to us in 1960, and they left. So when they now left, we began our own journey as a people, indigenous people governing the country, made to be ourselves. But again, as the journey was going on, as at that time, from 1st October 1960 to the discovery of oil in 1975 or thereabout, that was how Nigeria economy, boomed at the point when oil was discovered. Then the colonial master had left. So from that moment to where we are, we have seen a lot of development. Because when the first civilian government came on board, talking about people like Sardauna, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi, these were the most important figures we had in Nigeria, and who struggled for Nigeria independence. It is important for us to know the history, that Nigeria never fought war with the British for us to have this independence. Other countries, they got their independence, they shedded blood. That in Nigeria, it was paper and pen. When they were using it was called an ideological war until Nigeria became free at the end of the day. And so this was what really happened. Instead of losing blood, we used we use words to convince them at the end of the day. So that continued, and by the time it went on for a while, the colonial masters, or Nigerians, so to speak, felt that the country wasn't working well, so they decided to stage a coup that finally removed some of these people that struggled for our independence, and that again set in the military. When the military came on board, a different story again has been told, or had been told, so to speak, and we continued in that trajectory for some time. And it went on like that for a very long time until we finally saw another round of election that brought about Shehu Shagari, who then came on board after a military rule, and we have been there again. And then there was an interjection. And then by 1999, we have democracy till today. And that's why we have Bola Tinubu as our president. But we are going to take a break, and then we'll come back, we'll continue on that discussion. Maybe by that time, my guest must have found his way to join us from Ijebu, Ogun, very close to Lagos State. So don't go away, it's Big Talk on Global TV. Again, my name is Topsy Gimba. Stay tuned.
Nigeria at 65, a nation rich in culture, heritage, and resilience. From the banks of the River Niger to the hills of Jos, from the bustling streets of Lagos to the peaceful plains of Sokoto, Nigeria stands tall, united by hope, straightened by diversity. 65 years, the green and white flag rises high, a symbol of freedom, a promise of self-determination, a call to greatness.
Through trials and triumphs, challenges and changes, Nigeria remains unbroken. Her people, bold, brilliant, and brave, continue to rise, innovating, creating, and shaping the future. The journey has been perfect, but it has been powerful.
As we mark 65 years of independence, we remember the past, celebrate the present, and look forward to the future with hope. Together, we are stronger and united. Happy Independence, Nigeria! This message is brought to you by Global Television. Nigeria at 65, a nation rich in culture, heritage, and resilience. From the banks of the River Niger to the hills of Jos, from the bustling streets of Lagos to the peaceful plains of Sokoto, Nigeria stands tall, united by hope, straightened by diversity. 65 years, the green and white flag rises high, a symbol of freedom, a promise of self-determination, a call to greatness.
Through trials and triumphs, challenges and changes, Nigeria remains unbroken. Her people, bold, brilliant, and brave, continue to rise, innovating, creating, and shaping the future. The journey has been perfect, but it has been powerful.
As we mark 65 years of independence, we remember the past, celebrate the present, and look forward to the future with hope. Together, we are stronger and united. Happy Independence, Nigeria! This message is brought to you by Global Television.
Welcome back, Big Talk on Global TV. We sincerely apologize for this break in transmission. This is due to reason beyond our control. You know, live programs with modern technology, the glitches are there with the computers, and sometimes they create problems. And that's why you notice this long break in this program. But of course, you know, to establish a guest far away from where we're transmitting is another Herculean task. Like I said at the opening, at the beginning of this program, I mentioned that my guest will be joining us via Zoom from Ogun State, former chairman Ijebu East, in the person of Honorable Wale Adebayo. It's not just easy to establish contact, but of course, when that is done, he explains to us, because we are looking at the Nigeria at 65. That's Nigeria independence. By Wednesday, we will be trooping out to celebrate our independence as a nation, as a sovereign state, governed by ourselves, handed over to us by our colonial master, the British government, in 1960, 1st October, as a matter of fact. And the question here is that most Nigerians are asking, to what extent can we say we have actually made an impact? It is on that note, when he joins us, he tells us whether or not we have really moved to a better position, or are still struggling in one place. It is important for a person who had a role to play at a particular time will be able to explain to us whether, you know, we are actually moving forward, or we are moving backward, or we're just standing in one position. And that's Honorable Wale Adebayo, former chairman Ijebu East, so to speak, from Ogun State. Honorable, are you there with us? Honorable Wale, are you there with us? Well, I believe a lot of effort is being made. He's actually going to be with us on this program. But again, like I said, I was trying to explain to you that, you know, Nigeria was founded, you know, then before independence. We weren't like the way we are. Every community or region was on its own. There was no Nigeria before the military, before the colonial master came into power. They had to put ourselves together, you know, join us in different ways to make what today is called Nigeria. And when they now put us together that the way we are, they centralized a government that really governed us at a point. And then, you know, don't forget that Nigeria wasn't there. It was after a very long time, it was amalgamated in 1914. And then when it was important to take the name Nigeria, the wife to Lord Lugard, that's Flora Shaw, and I came up with the name Nigeria to make Nigeria as a country, as a state, as the way it is today. Flora Shaw was the name that coined that name Nigeria. We know in history, but it appears as if it's from, you know, using the Niger to make Nigeria as a name. And so since that time to where we are until we got our independence, the name has been standing the way it was and the way it is today. But the question here is, after independence, where are we after 65 years? It's the whole thing that needs to be known by Nigerians. And like we often say, countries, not just Nigeria, pass through similar kind of colonial masters rule, but are they still the way we are? That's the question to be answered. And it is important by the time my guest joins us, he tells us basically what that means. But of course, ourselves as citizens of this country, we know whether we're making progress or we're just standing in one position. Like I said, today, so many things are really happening. We never had schools then like the way they are. We never had roads that were constructed like the way they are. We never had electricity in those days like the way we have it right now. We never had, states in their numbers like the way we have today. So there is a little bit of this progress in the entire affair of this country. And again, Nigeria is recognized diplomatically by the outside world as a giant in many aspects of life. Those Nigerians who live here to go to anywhere, they can attest to that because of the effort they're really making. Is it in the areas of science and technology, where we have so many doctors who are faring well wherever they find themselves? Is it about, having professors, across the board? All these are put together as part of development of this country. But of course, as efforts are being made by government to put us together, the population grows. and the population overstretches the little resources we have, thereby creating problems for Nigerian government, for people to see as if nothing is not moving. But indeed, things are really happening. And it is important, if my guests had joined us, would have further put more input into this discussion. And so let me just find out whether or not he is prepared from Ogun State in the person of Honorable Ade, Honorable Wale Adebayo. Are you there, sir? Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me now? Ade or Honorable Wale Adebayo. Are you there? Well, I can hear you. Can you hear me now? Establish contact with him. If it does, he joins us. If it doesn't, we'll continue with the program, really. But we all know that that is Wednesday will be the 1st of October 2025, and that will be the day Nigerians will be celebrating their independence as a people. Like I said, it's about time for us to really show ourselves as a people. You know, in the time past, for quite some time now, in recent times really, we've been doing that in the State House. Nobody will have the opportunity to go to the State House to know what was really going on, particularly when Buhari was there, late Buhari was government. Most of these celebrations were conducted most times in Villa. We are expecting the president, in the president of Bola Tinubu, to do so much by choosing a particular venue where Nigerians will join and celebrate their own independence. I remember when Nigeria was 50, Jonathan was there. He celebrated it in Eagle Square. I had the opportunity to cover that event as a journalist. And that was the time when we had the first bomb blast in Nigeria. That was the beginning of what we are seeing today as insecurity. You know, most of us that were in Eagle Square were a little bit apprehensive. We were afraid. Probably we have been mingling with people who are likely to be killers. But of course, we had sufficient security that time when Goodluck Jonathan was at that particular podium addressing Nigeria. Security apparatus were all over the place, and I think the person was heading to the Eagle Square at that time to do what he thought he was going to do, but because he was stopped along the road somewhere, the bomb exploded in the car or in the vehicle he was using to come and destroy Nigerians at that point in time. So it's a very good thing for us to know. And from that moment, we began to hear more about bomb blasts in various sections of the country, suicide bombing, going on, people running helter-skelter, because it became completely a new thing. Not that we are like becoming used to it today. But when it got started, nobody knew exactly what was really happening. And everything was completely in a state of confusion. But today, we have lived with it, and we're still living with it. But again, we are not like the way we were by becoming so apprehensive when that first bomb exploded somewhere in Abuja here. So let me see whether I'll establish contact with my guests in the person of Wale Adebayo, former chairman Ijebu East in Ogun State. Hello, Honorable.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Honorable. It's a pleasure. I've been waiting for you like the second coming of Jesus Christ. Can you hear me? No. Yeah, you can imagine a program that got started at 7 and only at this point in time we're establishing contact with you, but nothing is lost, because whatever comes out from here appears to be something holistic and very important for Nigerians to know that we are celebrating our independence 65 years down the line. It's a very long journey, I must say, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And what we are doing now is an achievement in itself, because in those days, even at independence, we had little or no phone. How many people had access to phone? Some kind of internet. There was nothing like internet. The world started internet and we joined almost immediately. Now we are using this. Our fathers are independent. They never had access to television. And like you rightly pointed out, we've moved a long, very, very long way from where we were at independence. And as a country today, we are one of the very, very few countries in Africa, if not number one today, that has had a continuous regime of civilian to civilian transition. which has been a major problem of most African countries, if not most third world countries. We do not have any intervention of the military or a disorder like the civil war we had that would translate democracy in Nigeria. That is what we've been doing since 1999, and that's more than any other achievement. It is the first time in our history since 1960 that we have this long unbroken period of civilian to civilian rule. We are the ones who have been electing successive governments, not in the military. And I think that one in itself is a very, very big achievement. We should thank God and our staff for that. But beyond that, like I said earlier, the internet we are using today, there are some countries in Africa who don't even have that much access to the internet. At independence in 1960, how many roads do we have? How many cars do we have in Nigeria? How many people even had television stations? Not just in Africa, but beyond Africa. We have more than enough TV stations today, more than enough radio stations, newspapers, magazines, name it. Whatever you find available abroad, we have it here in Nigeria. And like you rightly pointed out the other time, there are a lot of things that we export out of Nigeria to other countries now. And anywhere you go in any part of the world, there is no nation on earth that the name Nigeria is not known. And if you're a Nigerian abroad, you stand out as a quality person. These are things that we have achieved as a country in our 65 years of being a nation of our own. In fact, once you say Nigerian abroad, you are clearly identifiable from any other black person. Not by your own fellow Nigerian, but either by white or by black. They will tell you, oh, that guy is a Nigerian. So when you talk, when you dress, the way you carry yourself. I think there is something about whether you are Igbo, whether you are Yoruba, whether you are Efik, Ibibio, Fulani, whatever. Once you are abroad, there is something that identifies us as a Nigerian. And the foreigners will always tell you that. If they are the ones who approach you, oh, I'm sorry, are you a Nigerian? That means there is something about us that this 65 years has created as a people. That people easily identify us as Nigerians, even without showing your passport. Automatically, there are people who hold passport of other countries. The first question they will ask them, even with the passport of other countries they are carrying, are you a Nigerian or you lived in Nigeria for long? That's the first question they will ask you. That means the Nigerian identity is here to stay. There's something that this 65 years has done to us. All the ethnic groups in Nigeria, all the little nations within Nigeria that we have, there's something that has bonded us together as a people that once we are outside the shores of this country, it is very, very easy to identify. And I think that's a very good one. The rest is just that we have a young democracy now, which we need to improve upon as to move on in the life of our country. But it's really a fantastic 65 years, no doubt about it. No doubt about it at all.
Yeah. What a very good establishment of this program. Let me find out from you, Honorable Wale Adebayo. Will you say we need more to be done, or we are already satisfied with what we are seeing today in Nigeria?
We need to be down now, because it's not a question of being satisfied. But like a child that is growing, even the United States of America, which is more than 200 years old as a nation, they still have their own challenges. So it's part of a nation growing up, just like a normal human being. You have your challenges at some levels. What you have to do is how to surmount those challenges. I don't see problems. I see challenges. And challenges are meant to be confronted and surmounted. And that's what we need to do. Even countries who are older than us, they still have their own challenges too. So that's just it. But we have a lot of things to be proud of. A lot of things to be proud of. There are countries in Africa, even in the rest of the world, that people cannot easily identify them where they are from. For us as Nigerians, wherever you find yourself abroad, you are easily identifiable as having come from Nigeria. And that in itself, like I said earlier, is an achievement. It's not the way we talk, but it's not even a question of the kind of clothes you are putting on. Whether you put on native attire or not, it does not matter. There's a way the average Nigerian will carry himself, that when you get out there, you are easily identifiable that you are a Nigerian. It's completely different from other people. I mean, the Republic is very close to us. The Nigeria Republic is close. Cameroon is very close. But nobody will see a Cameroonian and be asking the Cameroonian, are you from Nigeria? If in Nigeria, when they say Nigeria, they will, oh, you are from Nigeria. Oh, are you not from Nigeria? And you confirm. That's just it. That means there is something in us, there is something that this 65 years has done to us that has linked us together as a nation, as one people. So we only need to improve on that, and that's all. That's just it.
Yeah, Honorable, if things are said to be good for Nigeria or Nigerians, have you ever bothered to check these dangerous journeys most Nigerians are embarking upon? Some, they call it in the modern time today, Japa. The Japa is not just, you know, flying out of the country easily. Some, they embark on a very dangerous journey, crossing deserts, tough terrain, encountered wild animals on the road. Some died as a result of that, you know, there is a spike of it, you know, in recent times. One wonders if things were said to be good, would you have experienced these dangerous journeys most of these young Nigerians are embarking upon to go to Europe or any other place in the world at all?
My brother, that is a challenge for the federal government to tackle. Here in Nigeria, most of those young people who are running away from Nigeria, I can tell you they are not exposed. They are not exposed. The few of them who are exposed, they are carried away by sentiments of believing there is a problem somewhere. There is no problem. Go to anywhere in the world. Those who are moving abroad, they want to come to Nigeria. I'm talking about foreigners. They believe there are a lot of opportunities, which is true in Nigeria. If you come to Nigeria, oh, you make a lot of money. The only thing you need to invest in this, invest in that. This is the little challenge I'll say we have. Number one is insecurity, and that is being tackled. Seriously now, I have no doubt about that. That is being tackled. If you believe in yourself, there are more than opportunities here for you to make it in life. If you want to travel abroad, you can travel, go and do your holidays. I did my master's in the UK. And when I was coming back to this country in 1999, a lot of my friends were like, wow, why are you going to Nigeria for? Nigeria, blah, blah. I'm going back home. And for those of us who came back at that time, we travel regularly to spend holidays abroad. And those friends who left there, only few of them, very few of them are okay today. When we go, those that we left that were there together before, we are the ones that will take them money. I remember my days at the point when I was seeing the journalists at the point and the other. Each time I travel, it is me that will be giving them money, not the other way around. They don't give me money. It's me that will give them money. And that is still happening up to today. There is a lot of opportunities in Nigeria. But a lot of our young people, they don't know about these opportunities. And the few of them who do, you know, the average person, where a lot of people see problems, me, I see challenges. We need the government, especially the Government of Information and National Orientation Agency, to step up what they are doing. So that people will know that we have more than enough opportunities here in Nigeria. If you go online, you see a lot of organizations who are putting out that they need people for employment. They want to employ this, they want to employ that.
If you check their data accurately, you will understand that for quite some time now, universities and polytechnics have actually turned out graduates who are right now in the labor market. Those who graduated 10 years ago are still struggling to secure a job to do. We never imagine that a person who graduated in the Faculty of Medicine is still unemployed. We have never imagined, but it happens today in Nigeria. When a child goes to university, studies medicine, comes back home, and be looking for a job as we speak. And you're painting the picture as if whoever that is watching will assume assuming he's watching us outside this country, assuming that maybe things are really working well. Let me shock you. Recently there was a wedding organized by a senator for his own son in Kaduna, and the president had to go there to be part of that wedding. While the wedding was really going on in Kaduna, so many Nigerians, those whose names are written in gold, attended this wedding. Meanwhile in Zamfara, in a mosque, people were killed and some adopted till today. Will you say, don't you think Nigeria is a pariah nation?
No, I disagree. The example you just mentioned now, that is just one of the things I spoke about earlier. That we have challenges of insecurity. And if you look at the statistics, the insecurity challenges are going down, not going up. Those challenges are being tackled. If you look at it, in the US, people are being killed every day. Go check the statistics. The United States is where they commit a lot of murder in a year. Go and check the statistics. How many people are killed in the US? It may not be on a large scale as a goal, like we have in some places here, but it kills a lot of people in the US. Insecurity is a challenge and it's being confronted. I have no doubt about that. Then you give another example the other time about medical doctors not getting a job. It is part of the reorientation I'm talking about. You cannot be a medical doctor and you sit at home and you say 4 years you don't get a job. Who told you that? There are a lot of, even if it is not government job, there are private hospitals looking for medical personnel. You see, some of our young people, some of them are conditioned to say that, oh, if you don't go to Lagos, if you don't go to Abuja, things will not be okay for you. If there are no opportunities in Lagos, for God's sake, try other places. If there are no opportunities in Abuja, try other places. You know, the medical doctor won't get a job. Even before the guy is finished, the job is waiting for him around. Not even nurses. We don't have enough nurses now. There are always places for them. And I'm not talking about government employment. Even in the private sector, they can easily get a job in the private sector. And then about the other people who have graduated, there is this mentality that once you go to university, then you must get a white collar job. That is one of the challenges we need to confront. That the National Orientation Agency has a lot of work to do in that area.
Before you talk about that, you need to expand your scope, but not necessarily depending on white collar job as it is today. But the question here is that I want to find out from you, is that realistic enough? You are not graduating and you are told to obtain a skillful job or put yourself in some kind of training other than just depending on that certificate. Is that not an idea of the rotten society?
No. It's not a rotten society. Even abroad, that is how it is. It is not everybody that will get a white collar job. It is not everybody that will get a white collar job. The thing is, you need to look within yourself. What is the gift that God has given you? And parents have a lot of role to play in that. There are some kids that maybe they are fathers, they are carpenters or tailors or whatever. And I'll give you an instance. In my rural city here, I have some friends. I'll use the example of the lady. The mother is in the fashion design, what you call tailoring. If I arrived from 100 level, she took this sewing machine to school. I'm telling you, she sponsored herself throughout school. And when she was serving, maybe it's legal or illegal, I don't know. During her service, she was posted to her own shop. That's where she did her youth service. Her own shop. That's where she did her youth service. And now she is earning more. In fact, I can tell you that 100 of what the parents are earning. Because the caliber of people who go to her for fashion design or things like that, they are not the caliber of people who are in our rural area here. If they are taking 500 to sew a clothes here, she won't take less than 5,000 naira. Because of the new orientation they have, because of the new funds they have. A circle of funds has been put. You can imagine a graduate going to do farming, going into agriculture. The way that graduate is handled is different from the way my own father will handle farming. The places he will sell his produce to, the way he will handle his produce is different from the way native farmer will handle it. That's what we're saying. There are a lot of opportunities here. But there's a young man I know here, I think he read computer science. You put him in, the father wanted to get him a job. The young guy said no. The parents never knew that when he was in university, he was already exporting charcoal. Can you imagine charcoal? And the boy was $10 even before he graduated. He was exporting charcoal outside Nigeria and he was making money. Within a year, he was okay. He was hiding it from the parents before. But after his NYSC, he came up and told the parents, look, how much would they be paying me when you are arranging for me? That I prefer my own business, I want to be on my own. There are such opportunities all over for our young people, but a lot of them are not looking at it. And they look inward at what they can do. And with time, like all those, like I'm talking about now that Agric and so on, from Buhari, from President Jonathan, not just Buhari, there's a lot of money being pumped into agriculture. With time, when mechanized farming really take hold in Nigeria, it's not just those who study agric that are employed. Accountants, social scientists, people who do administration and so on, they will be employed in all these large scale farms. You understand what I'm talking about? So there'll be more than enough jobs. But for now, people need to look inward. There are a lot of opportunities around, many opportunities that we're not tapping into. And it's foreigners who come.
Let me ask you this question. There's a local government chairman, those are the way you were, as the local government chairman of Ijebu is then, a current serving chairman in a particular state. You know, a professor sent me the pictures of his own wife, you know, traveling to one of these countries in Europe, I think either in Russia or in Western Europe. But if you see the wife and anything new that followed her just to go and learn how to, you know, to develop skills or knowledge or have skills so that she comes back home and impacts it on our youth. But if you see the number of people she carry along, a local government chairman, like the way you were, doing that. And do you know that the local government chairman as well, who had over 100 aides, or I mean a councillor for that matter, who had over 100 aides, a councillor, not even a chairman. You can imagine the depletion of the resources we have at the end of the day. If anybody would do like the way some of them are really doing, you can imagine the challenges we are going to face as a people, by which at the end will have a ripple effect in terms of affecting the young ones that are graduating. And that's the more reason why today there's nothing on ground, but because some individuals who happen to be at the top echelon in government are the ones who are actually packing the money meant for many of us. A woman who just a wife to a chairman like the way you were. Can you imagine that?
No, let me tell you something. You see, one of the challenges we are facing right now is local government administration. During the First Republic, are you aware local governments, they have their own police? Local governments, they have their own police. But I'm sure in time we are going to get there. The caliber of people at local government level right now is very poor. The mentality is not there. A lot of them are not there for service. What we are going to take home for ourselves. And I think that's one of the challenges that the current administration ought to face. Though it's the government that should really face that. But if the federal government really wants things to work, the local government must work. If the local government does not work, then we'll continue having challenges in Nigeria. Because that's the first place where things should be happening. For God's sake, the local government does not even have any business going abroad to study anything. Before I became chairman, like I told you, my holidays were spent abroad. I can't even remember the day I left my local government to travel to Lagos or wherever for anything. If I have to go to Abeokuta sometimes, it's occasionally. They complain that I don't come for meetings and things like that. I have a lot of things to do in my local government. Government of traveling abroad. What would I be going abroad to do? When I have a lot of challenges to tackle in my local government. You need to put round pegs in round hole. Right now, we have a number of square pegs in round hole. And I think with time, that these things will sort themselves out. Once the federal government should get the local government administration right in Nigeria, a lot of things will fall into place. Because we are talking about security, we are talking about agriculture, we are talking about employment, everything starts at the local government level, not at the federal level. The federal level is just a small part of it. It's not even state, it's the local government. And the local government will create the
there is this fear among us. If a wife local government chairman will travel to Europe just to ensure that she goes there and acquires a little bit of this knowledge on skills development, and they will carry women in their number, and you see the way they dress, so intimidating. And now we are now talking about, you know, autonomy for local government. Imagine this, if this autonomy were to be given to them, that would be the way they will live their lives against our personal interests as citizens of this country. Now you are painting the picture as if the state will not do much, but local government will do much if they were to be given that autonomy. But the autonomy might not work very well, looking at the way some of them are even behaving before the autonomy could even come. By the time they become completely autonomous, it's very obvious that our money will be spent extravagantly in very frugal way without really minding what is expected to for citizens of this country to enjoy. So I don't subscribe completely to you, and I wouldn't want the president, maybe in his own speech, so to speak, on 1st October, to go closer to that area, looking at the way what that professor sent to me. I must present Professor Abubakar Ibrahim. He sent that video to me. I must tell you this.
No, let me tell you something. You see, something that is not happening right now is what happened under former President Olusegun Obasanjo. To me, a number of governors should be in jail right now because of this local government we're talking about. It's not just a question about impeachment, removing them from office. They should be in jail. If Mr. President should allow the EFCC to work, all these ones you are talking about, look at the chairman traveling outside to do whatever, chairman ceremony. No! You only need to make one or two examples. Once you do what you're not supposed to do with public funds, then you have to pay for it. But right now, nobody is being sanctioned for that. You understand what I'm saying? By the time people are being sanctioned, everybody will keep doing what they are supposed to do. But nobody is being sanctioned. So once they start to sanction those who are messing up, they will keep their cool. They will know what to do. But right now, the sanctions are not there. And that is what we should ask the government to do. Especially the government in Abuja, the government at the center. The EFCC should do his work. The ICPC should do his work. They should not even be waiting for petitions. You understand? Because if you are going out to do that kind of thing, at least you will come back to Nigeria now. Even before you come back, who sponsored the trip? Where did the money come from? You understand? From there, apart from that, don't forget there's something that is coming into force from January 2026. I hope you are aware of the new tax laws in Nigeria. Most people don't even know the effect that law is going to do. Now in Nigeria, beginning from January next year, I hope the employment will be okay. We are going to the level of the United States of America and the UK. You spend money anyhow, how much tax have you paid? Okay. And secondly, where did that money come from? Where did you get the money from?
Time is no longer on our side, and I'm really very, very worried that we never started this program when it was expected of you. I can understand the glitches we experienced from the machines, and equally the distance where you are coming us from contributed immensely to what we experienced during the time we got started on this program. But for the fact that you are able to come like the way you are right now, we appreciate you for whatever you have done so far. Just to say one word or two to Nigerians as they mark 65th anniversary of independence.
What I'm just saying is patient. There is always challenges in nation building. Nigeria is a young democracy. The institutions of democracy are not strong. But what we just talked about now, local government chairmen spending money anyhow, the same with our governor, the same with maybe one or two ministers or a few of them. Okay. If the institutions of democracy, which is the judiciary, party organization, independent media, if they are strong enough, they are the ones that
I'm sorry, we cannot continue any longer, and I think maybe you need to take a flight to come to Abuja so that we interview live and direct like the way I am sitting live in the studio. And I really appreciate you for taking time to be with us on this program, Big Talk on Global TV. You watch us all the time and then call us and then make your input at any time you so want. I appreciate you deeply, sir.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much for being part of this program, Honorable Wale Adebayo on Big Talk on Global TV, DSTV channel 365. That's how far we can go. We looked at the Nigeria at 65 achievements and challenges, and we had our guest, Honorable Wale Adebayo, who at one time served as the chairman of a particular government, precisely in Jebu East in Ogun State. We thank you. We shall be coming your way next edition tomorrow with another personality. My name again is Topsy Gemba. Do have a very lovely evening. Bye-bye.